In episode 2 of Lanterns, the mystery of this entire show is finally come to light. We found out exactly which aliens were in Rushville and who they came for. We got to see John's incredible willpower in this episode, and Hal met up with his old mentor. So let's start the breakdown of this awesome episode. The episode kicked off with Hal giving John the ring so he could fly, but it wasn't that easy for John. When he imagined flying, he created a bird construct that didn't disappear even when he took off the ring. Now this is a bit weird. Whenever Green Lanterns create a construct with their ring, it disappears the exact second the ring is taken off their finger. But that wasn't happening in John's case, which confirms one thing. John Stewart's willpower is incredibly strong. So strong that the bird didn't disappear even when it was miles away from the ring. Plus, another crazy detail is that the bird is sentient, meaning it was flying on its own. When Antaan's people were making John feel the aftermath of what the Manhunters did, the bird actually tries to stop them. This is honestly a huge deal in itself. Although what John Stewart has done in the comics is an even bigger proof of his tremendous willpower. In Justice League Volume 4, John Stewart actually brought a Green Lantern ring into existence purely through his willpower. Not only that, in the comics, his mastery over his ring is so absolute that he never creates anything hollow. His constructs are just as well designed on the inside as they are on the outside. He is so precise that he can build his constructs down to the isotropic level. We might get to see the story behind his incredible willpower through his backstory in the series. So that was the explanation for John's bird. Now let's move on to the aliens in Rushville and the tech used to detect them. In the episode, Hal goes back to the stadium and tries to figure out how all 4 people killed there were actually aliens. I mean, how did the killer know they were targeting aliens? First, he walks through the metal detectors himself, but they don't detect the metal on his belt. After that, he goes to retrieve the alien bodies, brings them back to the stadium, and passes them through the detectors. As soon as the alien bodies go through, the detector goes off. Now, obviously, this isn't normal tech, and if a Green Lantern himself is saying that, it's something to think about, because a Green Lantern has seen a lot across the entire galaxy. So finding this kind of tech in a small town on Earth is a big deal in itself. But this is where certain terms come in. First off, there is talk about the Manhunters. Antaan and his people grab John from Hal's house, where they make it clear that they are the same aliens whose companions were killed in Rushville, and they had gone there to find a Manhunter. Now, who is this Manhunter? In the comics, before the Guardians created a space police force like the Green Lanterns, they created the Manhunters. The Manhunters were synthetic. The Guardians had programmed the Manhunters to be an emotionless police force. While hunting criminals, the Manhunters concluded that the root of all crime is emotional response, and emotions only exist in organic beings. Therefore, they decided that if they wanted to eradicate crime at its root, they had to wipe out all organic life in the universe. That was the only way to maintain order. Then the Manhunters descended on Sector 666, and the massacre of the worlds in Sector 666 began. Only 5 beings survived this massacre, and they blamed the Guardians, whose creations, the Manhunters, did this to them. Then the Guardians stepped in to destroy the Manhunters, but they couldn't wipe all of them out. Some survived and went into hiding on different planets. Now their goal isn't just to destroy organic life, but also to wipe out the Guardians and their Green Lanterns, and that's exactly what was discussed in this whole episode. The guy telling John all about this is Antaan. Now, there is no character named Antaan in DC Comics. However, in the comics, the leader of the survivors of the Manhunter massacre became Atrocitus, who was a Red Lantern in the comics. So just like the Green Lantern's powers come from their will, the Red Lantern's powers come from rage. Atrocitus is also the leader of the Red Lanterns, and many fans believe that Antaan, who appeared in the show, is actually the Red Lantern Atrocitus. And somehow, this theory seemed to prove somewhat true in this episode, because Antaan being impressed by John's bird construct, him telling John that he wants to recruit him, and him saying that the Manhunters wiped out his people. All these things kind of make it clear that Antaan is indeed Atrocitus. Now, Antaan tells John that the Manhunter wiping out his people drew the attention of a Green Lantern who captured that Manhunter and took him away. but Antaan feels that the Manhunter is still alive and is in Rushville. This matches up with the story Hal told about Abin Sur, which means Abin Sur was taking the Manhunter with him when, for some reason, he crash-landed in Rushville. And this could be the reason there is a Manhunter in Rushville, who might actually be William Macon's boss. He probably gave Macon the advanced technology to detect aliens and instilled the fear of an alien invasion in William's mind. That's why when Antaan's people came looking for that Manhunter, they were killed by William Macon's men. Now, let's jump over to Hal's house. Hal tells John that he got the house from some rich guy, and we see a photo where Hal is posing with the actors from the Harry Potter films. One thing is crystal clear from this: Hal is a massive Harry Potter fan. He even asked a Harry Potter-related question during an interrogation in the previous episode. Later on, there's also a photo of him with the Pope, which tells us that Hal is definitely a famous guy. Right there, John notices 3 Green Lantern uniforms. He holds one up in front of himself to see how it looks. It's obvious that John wants to be a Green Lantern with all his heart. It might have been his childhood dream. We even saw in the first episode how, while all his brothers were scared to watch Hal's interview, John didn't care. He isn't as scared of his father, as he is a huge fan of Hal. That's why he was a little disappointed after meeting him, because that image of a perfect hero has now been wiped from his mind.
Now John walks over to Hal's lantern box, which opens to the sound of Hal's voice. What Hal says here to open the box absolutely made every single Green Lantern fan happy. So Hal says here, Mogo doesn't socialize, and that is a true statement. Mogo is a sentient living planet who is also a Green Lantern, and because he is a planet, he doesn't socialize with other Green Lanterns. That's why Hal says here that Mogo doesn't socialize. Plus, Mogo is the one responsible for guiding a Green Lantern ring to the next sentient being after a Green Lantern dies. Now, let's talk about this box. This is the 3rd pocket dimension we've seen in this new DC universe. Before this, we saw the Quantum Unfolding Chamber in Peacemaker, which is an extra-dimensional pocket universe currently in Argus's possession. The second was the pocket dimension created by Lex and his company, which he was using as his private prison. All the chaos we saw in Peacemaker happened because of Lex's unstable pocket dimension. So how is Argus going to feel knowing that Hal Jordan has also been keeping a pocket dimension in his house? Now, from this pocket dimension box, John pulls out the power battery. I told you in the breakdown of the previous episode that a Green Lantern ring only holds a 48-hour charge, after which that Green Lantern has to charge the ring using their power battery. Now, this charging concept from the comics is proving to be very useful for the showrunners, because this way they are saving on the budget needed to show the visual effects of the Green Lantern powers. However, Hal charging his ring with it was just awesome. We hear him saying the Green Lantern Corps oath, "In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight," and whatever comes after. Now, here's another thing to think about. Antaan gave John exactly a 48-hour time limit, after which Rushville will start exploding. Meanwhile, Hal just charged his ring, which means his ring also has exactly 48 hours of charge left. So we have to see if there will be any charge left to stop everything at the end of those 48 hours. At the end of the episode, Hal puts on his uniform and heads out to the Green Lantern's prison to meet a prisoner and his old mentor, Thal Sinestro. Sinestro is a famous Green Lantern villain in DC Comics, who actually used to be a Green Lantern himself. We will probably find out more about his backstory later in the series. Sinestro was considered the greatest Green Lantern among them all. While he was in charge, there was absolutely no crime left in his sector 1417. Hal was his last student. That's why we see Hal here looking for answers to some questions from Sinestro. Now, Sinestro wasn't just a Green Lantern. He was the best friend of Abin Sur, the previous owner of Hal's Green Lantern ring. In the comics, Sinestro was even married to Abin Sur's sister, Erin. So when Hal asks Sinestro about the Manhunters, Sinestro says that if the Manhunters exist, they would be the second biggest threat to him, which means he is likely considering himself as the first biggest threat.
However, it's surprising here how Sinestro knows about John Stewart, because if we follow the comic book story, Sinestro went to jail shortly after Hal became a Green Lantern. So how did he find out about John while locked up in prison? Later in the episode, John meets up again with William's wife, Zoe, where he tells her that he isn't sure if he should trust Hal or not, to which Zoe replies that if he had to ask that question, he probably already knows the answer. Now, John doesn't know Hal very well, that's why this question is in his mind, but somehow, Zoe is planting seeds of doubt in his mind, which, believe it or not, could be the work of a manhunter, but that's just my suspicion. I mentioned in the last episode that the actress playing Zoe wouldn't be brought in just to play a simple side character. Her role is significant in this show, and we'll only find out later whether she is on the side of the good guys or the bad guys. Now let's shift focus a bit to Sheriff Carrie. Carrie tells Hal in the hospital that she came here from Gotham. Carrie's full name is Carrie Kane. In the comics, the Kane family is a wealthy family from Gotham. Plus, the original Batwoman, Kathy Kane, belonged to this very family. On top of all this, the new 52 Batwoman, Kate Kane, was the cousin of Batman, Bruce Wayne, because in the new 52, Martha's mother was also from the Kane family. So if in DC Studios Batman's mother is also from the Kane family, it means Sheriff Carrie here is a relative of Bruce Wayne, even though you might have noticed that in the Batman movie, Martha Wayne was shown to be from Gotham's other rich family, the Arkhams. So guys, that was the breakdown of Lanterns Episode 2. I'm really happy that by following the comic book route here, a lot of information is being delivered in a very subtle way. Now we have to see if the real threat is the Manhunter or Antaan. If you enjoyed the breakdown, definitely hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys.